when I see Anna Reeves Kennedy take my seat in the 14th District, position number 2. It's going to be a good day. And I can tell you, as soon as she does, they're going to say, man, you're better than that Inslee guy. I'll tell you that. He was nothing. Trudy and I came tonight for 2 reasons. The first reason is the most important, and that is to say thank you to everybody in this room from a very personal basis, because you have done things for my family and Trudy and the things we believe in that really are pretty amazing over the last 3 decades. In 1988, when I didn't have a prayer running in a Republican seat in the Yakima Valley, Maria and many people in this room gave me a shot, and I won in a huge upset and served proudly in the Washington State Legislature next to Sam Hunt's father and mother, who got me elected to that. Thank you, Sam. In 1992, I ran for Congress, didn't have a shot, didn't have a prayer in the world, and Democrats across the state of Washington took a chance on me, and I was elected. In 1994, I was unelected because it was a pivotal vote to pass the assault weapon bill, and I've never regretted that vote for 1 second. You didn't give up on me. You supported me in 1998, when I ran for Congress against an incumbent, didn't have a prayer, but you believed in the things I believed in, and you got me elected and defeated an incumbent Republican in 1998. In 2012, I started a governor's race, 16 points in the hole, 16 points in the hole. But people in this room believed that this was a fight worth having, and you stepped up, and you knocked on doors, and you raised a few dollars, and you talked to your neighbors, and I was elected in a huge upset in 2012. Now let me tell you why I'm saying thank you to you for doing those things. Obviously, on a personal basis, I personally want to thank you. But look what you have done for the state of Washington. Because you did all of those difficult things when you were called upon to really work really hard. You got the best paid family leave policies in the United States. You got the most aggressive gun safety policies the state has ever seen. You have the highest minimum wage in the United States. You have the best climate change policies in the United States. You got the first fair tax treatment for Washingtonians in 100 years. Yeah. I think it's fair to say that because of the work you have done, we have had the most active, progressive, fair, justice-minded progress in the last 12 years in the history of the state of Washington. And I want to thank you for those 12 years. But we know what happens when you make progress in this state. Republicans have an allergy against progress. When they smell clean air that you get from anti-pollution rules, they break out in hives. It's terrible. They rub this benzene on them or something to try to get rid of it. When they see somebody trying to stand up for a working person so they can get a decent compensation, they develop seizures. It's terrible what happens to Republicans when they see progress happening in the state of Washington. And when they do that, they want to drag us backwards, not just in the last year, not just the last decade, but into the last century. And now we have the 3 most retrograde, backward, aggressively injurious initiatives on our ballot in the history of the state of Washington. And I want to talk for a minute to talk with you about how we are going to defeat those and how I hope you can help make sure that that happens. So I'm going to show you the 3 secrets of how we're going to defeat these. They have something in common. We're simply going to tell the truth about these things. That's what we're going to do. Because all three of these have what all scams have in common, which is they don't tell you what they're really doing. So let's start with the long-term care proposal. They try to say, well, it's just a little jiggering, a little here or there, just to change your discretionary things. That is a lie, because that will destroy the ability for people in the state of Washington to have long-term care. And our people deserve to retire with dignity, and we got to call them out on this. They want to destroy the long-term care proposal. And we need to blow the whistle on them So when you talk to your neighbor, you tell them that's what's going to happen. And by the way, they're not reforming it, they are eliminating it. When you make this change, it will become unstable financially, house of cards, and it will fall. And that is their goal, to take away long-term care. Were they honest with people about this? Heck no, because fraudsters don't do that. Has Donald Trump ever been honest with anybody? No. Well, neither are the Republican politicians trying to take care of long-term care for people. Now go to the capital gains provision. They left out a little bit when they talked about this. They left out the fact that they are reaching into our schoolrooms and yanking out millions of dollars for kids so they can have a schoolhouse that doesn't fall down. And we're going to call them on that and tell them what they're doing. Keep your hands off the schoolhouse. Now, on the third one, the climate initiative has something in common with the first two. They aren't being straight. And I know this because the law requires them to be straight now. We passed a measure that when you do something injurious to Washingtonians on an initiative, now you have to tell people the injury you're causing. What are you taking away from people? How did they handle that? Oh no, they didn't want to be honest. So they went to court and they tried to suppress that so they wouldn't have to tell people what this actually does. And thank goodness to our great Attorney General and great work and a decent-minded judge, we're calling them on this too. So here's the 3 or 4 things you got to know. Number one, this thing does not do one single guarantee to guarantee anybody gets reduced gas prices. Not one single thing. There is not a word in this initiative that guarantees people lesser gas prices. They could arrive it that way, but you know why they didn't. Because they don't, you know whose side they're on when it comes to corporate efforts. Number two, they forgot to tell people that it blows up our pollution limits. This is about pollution, folks. This is about the fact that we today have a limit on pollution. And they want to make it limitless pollution. They want to have infinite pollution. So I'll tell you what this initiative does. It doesn't guarantee lower gas prices. The only thing it does guarantee is more pollution. And that does not fly in the state of Washington. But that doesn't stop there. That does not stop there. Because when they reached into the schoolhouse in the capital gains initiative, now they're reaching virtually everywhere to take away billions of dollars of money that people want and need. Look, people need a transportation system in our state. We know the traffic we have. This would gut the transportation budget. It would take $5 billion out of the projects that people have, and good union jobs would disappear. They want to take money away from schools. You ought to be able to breathe in a school. When there's a forest fire, you ought to have an air filtration in your school so you can breathe. Is that too much to ask? Republicans don't like that. They want to take that away. Electric school buses. You ought not to have to breathe diesel smoke when you're going to school, so we can get electric school buses. You ought to be able to have help to prevent forest fires that are causing so much damage. This thing zeroes out, does not reform, zeroes out all of those benefits. So it is my earnest hope that you will become active sharing this information with your neighbors. They got a billionaire or multi-millionaire, you know, who doesn't know Washington very well and doesn't know our values here, that thinks dirty air is just fine. Well, that just won't wash. And I hope that you're going to be very active in these initiatives. So I'm going to close my comments by saying this. I said that we've had the most progressive, activist-oriented 12 years in the history of the state of Washington. I believe that. And there's a real simple statement we're going to make in the next several months. We're not going backwards on the environment. Period. We're not going backwards on choice. We're not going backwards on early child education. We're not going backwards on gun safety. We're not going backwards on LGBTQ rights. We're not going backwards on fairness in our tax system. We are not going backwards. This is a forward state. We're going forward. Early to bed, early rise, work like hell, and organize. Let's go in these things. Thanks a lot.